South Sudan's independence in 2011 was supposed to bring hope for a better future after decades of conflict. Instead, the world's youngest nation descended into civil war shortly after, with fighting between communities continuing with no end in sight, despite a 2018 peace deal. Now, as hope in the government's ability to end the fighting dwindles, average citizens have taken the task upon themselves. My prospective guest today is Thomas Sametin. His documentary, For the Sake of Peace, which premiered at Cannes, profiles two South Sudanese peace builders using community-based projects to foster sustainable peace. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the American actor Forrest Whitaker asked you to document the work of his NGO, Whitaker Peace and Development Initiative. Can you tell us briefly about their work in South Sudan and how you came to be involved in the project?
Yeah, first I was working for a French agency, R2, who is a co-producer of this documentary, and I was working with my co-directing teammate, Christophe Castagne, who helped me to direct this movie. So we were working for a few portraits for the NGO in different countries, okay, with the youth who were helping youth to make a change in their life, positive changes. So Forrest asked us if we can start a full-length documentary, and we thought about South Sudan, and he thought about South Sudan because South Sudan is a really, really tragic country because all of the situation there, the people are very suffering. So it was really interesting to put light on this country specifically.
And the two protagonists who are profiled in your documentary, Ndenge and Gatjang, have two very different ways of working towards peace. Can you talk about their different methods?
Yeah, exactly. Gatjang is working on a football field inside a refugee camp in Juba, the capital of South Sudan, and is working through the values of football. And it's very interesting because when we talk about peace, we mostly talk about fighting, you know, when we try to reconcile two fighting tribes or something like that. And football is a very symbolic way of making peace because of the values of sharing, of friendship. And it was interesting for us to show another kind of making peace. And on the other side, we have Ndenge, who is really working hard on the ground to reconcile two tribes who are fighting for cattle. And it's a really, really dramatic conflict in South Sudan, all the cattle raiding. So it was interesting for us to show how Ndenge could reconcile these two tribes and try to make peace in the two communities.
What kind of training did they receive, if any, in order to facilitate these efforts?
Ndenge was part of the WPDI program in South Sudan. She started something like in 2013, and she was taught by peace mediation, peace reconciliation, with experts coming from all around the world. So she was really she tried to make peace in. Sorry about.
Without spoiling the film, do you think that their efforts have been successful?
Yeah, I guess because we know that the peace agreement between the two tribes which Ndenge has reconciliated, you know, it's still on. Okay, so we know that the two tribes are still in peace. So the work of Ndenge is still working now. So it's a very effective work. Yeah, of course, we know that for sure.
And this, despite, I think in the documentary, one of the elders, maybe I think in the film, said that peace without justice is not peace at all. Is there a justice element factored in to Ndenge's efforts, or is it mainly just aimed at kind of getting people to talk about and explain what they've been living through over the past several years?
Yeah, I guess it is mostly people talk with them. If we want to make peace, you have to reconcile and talk about what makes you anger and what makes you in conflict. So now it's not about justice in this way. No, it's just about reconciliation by talks, by it's simple piece, I guess.
Okay. And at some point, another one of the people profiled in the documentary says, or Nzenge, I think, says herself, that the government is not going to come in and build institutions if there's no peace. But I think that you could arguably look at it the other way around, in that it's, to a certain extent, the government's responsibility to help at least sustain peace and provide some degree of security in these different communities. Do you think that people have lost all hope in the government's ability to do that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's bad. It's sad, but yeah, I think people have lost faith in the government, and I guess in this part of South Sudan, and this kind of action can reconcile people and show them that peace and development start with themselves. You know, they have to start peace, and then maybe the government will change. But they are in such a despair situation, so the peace has to start with the people on the ground first.
And her effort took place in one specific community in South Sudan, like you were saying. Are there any plans, to your knowledge, to try and apply what she's done there on a more national level elsewhere in the country?
Yeah, WPDI NGOs working on several parts of South Sudan. We highlight a part of the southern part of South Sudan, but they are working on Juba, the capital, and other places also. So yeah, this kind of action can definitely be applied in other parts of the country, of course. Yeah.
And I imagine we've spent a lot of time talking about Nzenge, but what do you think? How can you measure success for a more the more abstract method that Gatjeng has in working with football? How do you know whether or not what he's doing is successful?
It's successful definitely because when you see the kids, when you see the youth who are, as he said, never saw football and stuff like that. So he teaches them the values of football. And when you see the children who are smiling, and you know that what he teach them, okay, will be applied in the future, and these values will go after and after for them in their life, I guess.
He did say that they are the future, which is
Exactly.
obviously true. So to turn to you, what was it like to film in such an intense conflict zone? How long did it take? Did you find that people were initially reticent or hesitant to have a camera crew documenting their lives?
No. The filming people was not very tricky because they really don't care about camera. They really don't care about documentary and stuff like that. So it was really easy for us to film them. But making the movie was really difficult because we are talking about filming documentary in one of the most violent countries in the world. So it was really complicated for us to ensure our security on the ground. So it took us 6 years to make this documentary, 3 years of filming, okay, and about 3 years of editing. So because we were filming in the tribe's language, okay, so we have all the process of translations, which was really complicated for us as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, the product is spectacular. Thomas Sametin, thank you so much for coming on the show today. That's unfortunately all we have time for.
Thank you.